Well, I'm once again here on the Snake River. I'm out here feeding the ducks and the geese. Been studying the Book of Mormon still, and got some fun stuff on the when Lehi finally gets to the Valley of Lemuel. He tries to help the kids understand the importance of living righteously. He tells them to go back and get the brass plates. And that's interesting because there's some wonderful information on the brass plates that has to do with the documentary hypothesis. I think there's a little squirrel I just fed up the tree. The documentary hypothesis of the Bible talks about the idea of the Bible being put together from various sources: a J source, a E source, a P source, a D source. And the interesting thing is this theme is reflected in the Book of Mormon, and I think it's fascinating. I'll explain the details of it to you as I can. But look at this little guy. Little squirrel come right up to me. Hold on, little fella. Here you go. Here you go, little buddy. There you go. There you go. He's hungry. These guys are hungry. It's cold. Anyway, I've been having fun discussing or learning about the documentary hypothesis. Richard Elliott Friedman is probably the most famous biblical scholar that discusses this. And it's very encouraging to see how biblical scholarship, I love studies that do critical biblical scholarship, not critical in the negative way, but critical in the positive way, of serious detailed analysis and discussion and understanding. And I really enjoy that. So I'm going to discuss the documentary hypothesis with you and share with you some of the interesting implications and ramifications of the internal consistency with the Book of Mormon, which I believe are extremely powerful. Very, very well done. I like it. Got a little squirrel right here that wants some food. I think even the crows want in on this. It's a great place down here by the river. You get to see a lot of wildlife. I enjoy it. Now, the LDS reaction to the higher criticism, what they call the higher criticism, especially with the documentary hypothesis, has been mixed. In the Joseph Fielding Smith era of the 1960s and 70s, it was somewhat negative. Through time, B.H. Roberts discussed it a little bit back in the early 1920s, and William Chamberlain. But through time, several LDS scholars took another look at the documentary hypothesis and how this hypothesis can affect our study of our own LDS scriptures, the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible, and the Book of Mormon. And 4 LDS scholars that I'm going to use for this series of videos discussing the brass plates, because the brass plates set the tone. Because of the information on the brass plates and how Lehi and Nephi utilize those brass plates and how they are mentioned time and again throughout the course of the Book of Mormon, the Book of Mormon shows a very beautiful internal consistency of use in the documentary hypothesis that is really startling. It's quite an interesting study. The 4 LDS scholars that I'm going to use is John Sorensen wrote an article in Dialogue, a Journal of Mormon Thought. This was for the autumn 1977. The Brass Plates in Biblical Scholarship, a most stimulating study. I really enjoyed his study. Then Kevin Barney. Anything by Kevin Barney is worth reading. I really like his stuff. He is quite fun to read. He's always interesting. He's always careful and very articulate. And he's a good, solid LDS scholar. Reflections on the Documentary Hypothesis. This was in Dialogue for spring of 2000. And he discusses the ideas, some ideas on the documentary hypothesis I want to share with you. And then George Potter. George Potter is the one of the main Book of Mormon explorers. He's been in Arabia now for decades, studying the opening first 40 pages of the Book of Mormon. In his book, 10 More Amazing Discoveries, he discusses in good detail how the documentary hypothesis can be used to help us appreciate the Book of Mormon even better. And then there are some wonderful notes by Brant Gardner, of course, in his commentary on the Book of Mormon, The Second Witness. And I want to discuss what I'm going to do. There's going to be a little bit of overlap because, of course, several of these scholars recognize some of the common themes with the critical biblical scholarship, the documentary hypothesis, and how it is reflected in a beautiful internal consistency with the Book of Mormon. So there's going to be some overlap as I go through these various scholars' ideas, but each one of them has several unique outlooks and insights into how biblical scholarship plays into Book of Mormon scholarship and vice versa, and how we can appreciate further the stick of Judah, the record of Judah, the Jews, the Bible, and this stick of Joseph, this Book of Mormon. And so as we gather more sources and we get all of the unique insights from each of the different LDS scholars, we get a much broader overall picture that shows what I consider to be one of the strongest 20 topmost evidences in favor of the Book of Mormon. Now, this brass plate idea is just casually mentioned somewhat in the Book of Mormon, and it's pretty impressive how through the course of the Book of Mormon, they're quoting those brass plates shows some beautiful consistency with critical biblical scholarship. So that's what I want to talk about with these brass plates in the Book of Mormon.
Here's my puppy, and she's making a nuisance of herself. She loves this ball. She loves to play ball on the stairs. She drops the ball on the stairs. Push it over to me, Sassy. Good girl. You do better than that. Get it. Get it. Anyway, she's probably going to be interrupting my filmmaking, so... Oh, joy. Oh, and great. Here's the kitty, too. There's the cat. No, the cat. Oh, listen to ya. Okay, okay. Good heavens, this puppy is. Good heavens, the puppy is. Uh-oh. Now what are we going to do? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Get it. Get it. She's quite the character. She definitely keeps me busy, and watch her do this deliberately. See that? That's on purpose. She's doing that on purpose. She's trying to play with me. You did that on purpose. Come and get it. Come and get it. She's scared of the stairs, so she doesn't like to get the ball very often. So. Okay, go get it. Go get it. Good girl. Now that's a worthless puppy right there. Look at that puppy list. Look at that cute puppy. Uh-oh. Now what are you going to do? Uh-oh. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, now for some more serious matters at hand. Now that you know my potential interruptions coming up. Let me briefly explain the documentary hypothesis. The most famous aspect of it is, of course, the letters that symbolize the different sources that the Old Testament was put together with. The J, the E, the P, and the D. The reason J is separate is because this particular author of this particular source in the Old Testament Bible used the word Yahweh, the name Yahweh, for God almost exclusively. And that's that patent footprint of that author. The E source uses the word Elohim for God. He uses God. The P source is the priestly source. It's more concerned with the laws, the statutes, the ordinances, in the book of Leviticus and so on and so forth, and Numbers and so on. And the D source is the Deuteronomist. The D is separate. All four of these sources have their own peculiar styles and characteristics